parents and the children could have fun together.
Please board quickly and safely. Our monorail will be departing momentarily.
Welcome to the My DVC Points podcast. Join the conversation as DVC members share their stories, personal preferences, and magical memories. Your reservation is confirmed, your fast passes are booked. Pull up on the yellow strap because our journey into the magic of membership is about to begin.
To infinity and beyond.
Now, here's your host and curator of magical stories, Chad Pennycuff.
Welcome home, neighbors, to episode 290 of the My DVC Points podcast, and we are taping this show live, and we're doing a monthly recap report. Every month, we come back in and we talk about what got bought back by Disney and what's called right of first refusal, affectionately known by fans as the ROFR monster, because when you come in and if I were going to sell you, the listener, my contract, DVC Resale Market would write it up, you would sign it, I would sign it, and then we have to submit it to Disney. At that point in time, Disney has the right to step in and say, hey, I'm going to be the buyer, and you would lose the contract. I would still get paid at whatever you agreed to buy it for. But when you're a buyer, the ROFR monster's got a lot of fear out there. So we affectionately call it the ROFR monster. We talk about average sales prices and inventory analysis. And so that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to welcome to the show the beauty and the brains, Miss Jodi Gross from DVC Resale Market. How you doing today?
Sorry, I jumped the gun there. Doing good. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. See, I did an awesome introduction like that.
Gosh, making
as well.
This tired girl feel special tonight. Thank you.
So, yeah, well, we are filming a little late tonight, but it is what it is. And we take you guys whenever we can get on your schedule and your calendar, because I know you guys work incredibly long hours, hard hours. And so awesome. I'll take whatever I can get. So if it means we got to host a show at 9, we host a show at 9. Yeah. So, Jodi, let's talk about last month for the right of first refusal and the ROFR monster.
I know that there was some talk about it on the various places. And yes, Disney bought a couple back, but it's still a very quiet monster. And if I'm a buyer, I wouldn't worry too much about Disney buying a contract back. They did buy back a few Polynesians, a Grand Floridian, but they haven't done Grand Floridian Animal Kingdom or Grand Floridian in a couple of months. They did buy back a few in Poly, but again, not.
Yeah, about 4 or 5 contracts last month in Poly, which I think is a good thing.
ROFR is, you don't want it to be out of balance like anything. It is good when Disney is part of the inventory. It just keeps, it's not, I know some buyers aren't too thrilled with it, but at the end of the day, it's what keeps the product that you buy, keeps the integrity of the pricing there. So if you ever want to sell it down the road, you've got something worth something, unlike other timeshares. So it is a good thing.
Yeah. I think it holds up and props up the value of our contracts in the fact that Disney still sees value in them and can sell them and buys them back. So I really like the fact that happens, because it kind of sets a low bar for the contract that says, hey, you go below this, you're going to have to live in fear of the ROFR monster stealing your deal. And I kind of like that as a seller and as an owner, you know what I'm saying? Because I think it preserves some of our value of these contracts.
It's helped a lot. And when they stopped buying it back, at one point, Disney was one of our biggest buyer. And when they stopped doing that, the inventory skyrocketed, of course, and prices came down. And again, I get it if you're a buyer, you want to seize the moment. But at the end of the day, when it gets too out of whack, it's not good for everybody.
Yeah. I'm with you 100% on that one, Jodi. And so we've started to see this at Poly. When Grand Flo was going on sale, we saw it there. So hopefully he gains a little bit more appetite back than just the active marketed product here. Because this trend isn't going to last. They're not just going to keep adding on to more resorts. I don't believe they could, but sooner or later, I think they got to build something new. It's just, and give us a new resort. We're getting it at Fort Wilderness, but it's only one cabin. Like, it's not a full resort. In my opinion.
And that's just recycled a bit too. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yep. So this is the picture this year, 6 contracts. And then the other thing that I think is really good is that the average time to escape the ROFR monster and Disney to say, hey, you're safe, 22 days, which when I was buying all of my resale, it was 30 and a little bit north of 30. So I'm 22
I
is
agree. Yeah,
pretty good.
they haven't been taking the full 30 days, which is great it's great for everybody, right? But yeah, I remember there
Mhm.
was some times where they got really backed up and we were waiting 45 days. So definitely good news when sooner rather than later it comes through.
Yeah, because that just means it's less time it takes you to get your points when you're the buyer, less time it takes you to get
Yes.
paid when you're the seller. So short ROFR is a win for everybody
Yes.
as well. So that part
Yeah.
I'm liking on. And now we mentioned average prices here. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead and flip over to this report. And this is another monthly report that we take a look at here and just kind of look at trend lines and start to see some like sweet spot in here. So if you guys are out there searching for a contract, here's some things that I would look at. And I'm 100% with Paul here, who put the Boulder Ridge icon up, because when I start to look at this and we can start to see they're listing out at Vero, Old Key West, Hilton Head, Alani, and Boulder Ridge, some of the best buys that are out there compared to direct prices right now. But I just look down through the list and see kind of what happened trend line. We see a bunch of either flat or softening, except for a couple of inventories.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, I agree with your assessment. I think we talked about this on the last time we got together, but was mentioning that the 2042s have finally, I think, we were all wondering, when is it going to plateau and eventually start coming down? And I think we're there. Not necessarily on all of them coming down, but they're not going to go up again anymore, the ones that are expiring. So we're seeing that. And I think that that's something that will kind of stay the course, right? I don't think there's going to be any surprises there. I'm still really surprised. And I know we talked about this last time at the pricing of Copper Creek and Bay Lake Tower. I mean, those are great prices.
What is going on with that? Like, those are both phenomenal resorts. In 132 for Bay Lake, with like a 2060 expiration date.
Walk to the Magic Kingdom. It's
low dues.
Crazy.
Now, I do think the dues are going to go up here as soon as their hard refurb is done, because historically we've seen dues take a little bit of a spike after they kind of clean out the coffers and refurb all the rooms with hard goods. So that I can see, but I don't think the market's accounted for that yet. It usually waits till after those due statements hit to account for that.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, again, it's held though. I mean, in fairness, it doesn't keep going down. It's been holding steady at 132, 133 for several months now. I can only think it's going to go up. I'm surprised. I'm very surprised at the Bay Lake pricing and Copper Creek as well.
Yeah. I mean, if I was Jim Cramer, I'd be talking about these hitting my buy button. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they're both phenomenal good deals. But we want you guys all to do your research on this as well. And it's what's best for your family. And there's something out here for everybody. Like, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And that doesn't just apply to my ex-girlfriend there. You know what I'm saying?
Now you're making me chuckle late at night after a long day. But that's a whole nother podcast, right? But
yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, And so Copper Creek 136, head scratcher to me, because it's the longest contract out there that doesn't have restricted deeds. It's still part of the original Classic 14.
Right.
So you can take those points and go any place in the Classic network. And after Copper Creek, no dice, right? But Copper Creek, last one of the other ones. So Grand Floridian still holding tight. It actually went up $4. And Disney just got done doing a bunch of marketing for that resort. It is a phenomenal resort. It is the lowest dues in Walt Disney World. I get why it's priced where it's
definitely
at. And yeah, I mean, if you even look back to the course of a year, it's still up $2.
Yeah, it's definitely stayed very stable. And there was a little bit of a dip I think it was in the last spring, and now it's climbing back up. And yeah, I think that's going to stay pretty stable. And then, of course, Polynesian has crept back up as well. And our listings are, I need to double check now, but we had only like 3 left yesterday.
Yeah, I can come in. I've got it right in my tab right here. So, and I like demoing your websites. You just come over to the listings.
Right? 2. We have 2.
Yeah, 2.
So any sellers out there who are thinking of selling their Polynesian, now would be a good time.
Yeah, and they're both small contracts, and they're both just juiced in price. So 175 for the 100 pointer, and then the 70 pointer is at 187.
Yeah.
So I actually do not want to get rid of my polys, but they're both 50s, and so that gives me hope that I could get even more.
Yes,
than that
I think
for
we'll
those,
see the average poly price definitely bump up on the next month's report for sure.
Yeah, and I guess there'd probably be more ROFRs if you had them more to sell.
This is true. This is true. Yeah, there's a lot of high dollar. I'm looking at what's pending sale, and a lot of them are in the 170s and 180s that are and high 160s that are pending sale. So out of 38 listings, there's only 2 left for the last stuff that we've listed in the last week or so.
Yeah, so we can look at that, and we can just click on uncheck the active listing box. You can see all the other listings. You can't see what they actually sold at, but you can definitely come back in and see them as to what they were listed at. And all of these are either offer accepted, sale pending.
Correct.
Right. And those are like within the last 2 weeks.
It's
so
moving.
That probably is moving. Okay.
It all of a sudden had a little fire light up, and it's moving quick. So yeah, with the inventory of only having 2 it's kind of crazy.
Well, I mean, what's not to love about the classic original Walt Disney World Resort here? Okay. So A, you got to love that. B, it's monorail. C, it's iconic. D, it's a phenomenal value to own compared to what they get for those poly rooms. And now you're going to be able to buy into that and then have access at 11 months, we believe, into the existing or this brand new poly tower that's coming up. So you're going to have 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms that you never had before.
Yes.
That's just phenomenal. That is just like awesomeness.
I'm glad they corrected their last miscalculation on the rooms there. So that's good.
Oh yeah, that was a bad mistake. And hopefully they're going to right the wrongs here. And hopefully they're like going to correct the point charts when this comes out as well and kind of bring them bungalows down a little bit. And we'll see. So we don't know. We can only hope. We can definitely only hope for that. But yeah, okay. So just looking at this and the website, is there any other sweet deals that we should be looking at or filters?
I mean, again, for a seller, it'd be a great time to sell if you're looking if you're on the fence, of course. For buyers, again, I would say there's always the Animal Kingdom in Saratoga that I think are great resorts for their value with the longer expiration date. I know that there's that decline on the price of Boulder Ridge, but I think some of that is, it's not that we sold a ton that were in the 90s. It's just we don't sell as many Boulder Ridges. So one large contract or one small contract could skew it. I'm not saying that's the case here. I didn't do a deep dive, but we don't do the volume on Boulder Ridge that we do on a Saratoga or a Animal Kingdom or Bay Lake Tower.
Yeah, Saratoga is the #1 resold timeshare in the world. So that's pretty incredible there. So look at this. We've got 22 Boulder Ridges up here, and they're priced in the 90s. Some of them, some of the bigger ones.
And
some of the bigger ones.
Yeah. So, I mean, if there's a great Boulder Ridge out there that's priced to move, and I mean, because it's a great resort, and that's a resort people love being at Boulder Ridge.
And it just got a glorious refurb. I mean, it was in dire need of it. We just got it. It is awesome. And then you're at Wilderness Lodge too. You're a quick boat ride over to MK and complete awesomeness there.
I would also say that something to consider if people were thinking about buying a Lonnie, that took a little bit of a decline. I mean, those prices went down. I'd say if you look, it went to 97 per point was the average sales price of a Lonnie. Again, we don't sell as many Alani's as we do the others. So a really small or really large contract can skew the average. But Alani,
here's the deal. That's one of my favorite DVC resorts. And if I was buying resale today, I would be, I looked, I don't know if you guys saw it on screen, but I was looking for those subsidized dues Alani contracts just to drool a little bit because. Yeah. And that's what I would be buying because I would just bank and borrow those points and 11 month into some standard views and save myself a boatload of points and money and dues and everything else. And then use them at the 11 or 7 month mark anyplace else in the classic
I would
resorts.
agree. It's a good value. It's got a longer expiration. The price per point is lower than Saratoga. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's kind of a quiet one that's flown under the radar a bit.
Yeah. Again, where's my Jim Cramer? Bye.
Yep, exactly. Right? And I don't know if you noticed the new Disneyland Tower. We've had a couple sales there in the 150s, which I think is kind of crazy.
Yeah, let's look at that. So we've got 4 active listings here from 185 to 163. And then if I just uncheck this, we can see one sold in the last 2 weeks, and it was listed at 169.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then the average price shows for last month is 155, and again, probably only a couple of those sold. So that's we're still the verdict's still out on that, but I mean that's a good deal if you're. I'd argue that the restrictions on resale at the Disneyland Tower are pretty insignificant. No one, in my opinion, is really paying that kind of money to go use it to stay at Saratoga or Animal Kingdom or even Bay Lake Tower. They're buying that because they want to stay there. So the restriction is, for the most part, irrelevant. So if you can get it on the resale market and your intention is to use it to stay there,
you're saving 25%, right? If you can get this thing for 155, it's going for like 225 a point direct.
Yeah. It's a lot of money. That's
some serious savings here. Some serious savings as well. So yeah, I would consider that. You've got points that you can use elsewhere to bounce around the network. You're just looking at picking up some Disneyland Tower points. Definitely take a look at those as well. And so just a comment from YouTube here. Chuck is saying that he's waiting to hear back from ROFR for my 50-point poly contract. And yeah, good luck with that, Chuck. Let us know how that works out for you. May the odds be forever in your favor. I mean,
50 pointers, those usually sell for the small contracts sell for a premium. So likely safe, but
you should be safe.
You never know.
Should be. You never can tell. You never can tell.
Yeah.
But you should be safe with that one. There's no rhyme or reason what that mouse does sometimes. You just can't wrap your head around it at times.
Correct. But, not predictable. Yeah. Always.
So we do have some inventory here for Boulder Ridge. And anything else that we should be taking a look at, Jodi? Any favorite listings that you saw? Or
I mean, I'm still, just the ones I mentioned. Those are the ones that really stick out. We've got your typical reliable old standbys, like we talked about Saratoga, Animal Kingdom, or some of my favorites. If someone's just looking for value, I mean, I happen to love Animal Kingdom. It's probably my favorite resort, but I realize I'm not dependent on the transportation when I go stay there. So it's not as convenient as some of the other resorts.
I'm tired of hearing that. It's another couple of minutes on the bus. No big deal. Like Saratoga is just as much of the boonies as Animal Kingdom is, but nobody complains about it.
That's a good point. I'm going to start telling people that because
you've got 2 bus stops at Animal Kingdom versus 4 or 5 over there at Saratoga.
And Saratoga gets a lot of other folks hopping on the buses and stuff there too. So you're right. I mean, I guess it just feels, and to me, and that's the plus of that resort, is it just feels like you're in another world and it's so far away. And that's what I like about it. And it's so themed and so unique. But, to your point, I bet if I haven't actually ever done the travel time, but you make a good point that
it's not that bad. It's really, truly not that bad. I think that's a bum rap for Animal Kingdom myself. I'll be honest with you, Jodi, it is my wife's favorite resort. And over time, it has grown on me to the point where I absolutely positively love it there because it is so unique. There is no other resort in the entire U.S. like that. You got to go to Africa to get something that even just
you
similar
wake up
to
and
that.
See your animals, giraffe and stuff right outside your balcony, like right here in Orlando, Florida. That's crazy. Yeah,
But I mean, you can go out west. You can go to the Pacific Northwest and get Copper Creek. You can go to Dollywood and get mountainous cabins. And
for sure.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like you can go to the Atlantic Boardwalk and get Boardwalk. Like you can't find Animal Kingdom savannas and giraffes right outside your room any place except for like the middle of the savannah, and heaven help you to try to pay for that trip.
It's a bit of a trek and not as easy to get to. No, you're preaching to the choir. It's definitely my favorite. I love the animals. I feel like it's super peaceful, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I am 100% down with Animal Kingdom, Alani, Copper Creek.
Bay Lake's the other option. I think
Bay Lake.
I mean, just looking
as a local, when I get to go meet somebody at Top of the World because we've got a listener in town and they're like, "Hey, let's meet at Top of the World." I love it. I absolutely positively love it. As a local Top of the World, when I get to go up there, because you can't always go up there unless you're staying on a property, right? So when I have a listener here in town and I get to head up there, absolutely positively love it. My next favorite place, Sonoma. Me for bread service, you had me for bread service. Like
I know. And the pool areas at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, I think they're just so I don't know. I love them, but
yeah, they're awesome. They're 100% awesome.
Yes.
Immersive environment.
Yeah, and
You
I
can't
think
go wrong there. Saratoga Springs, I'll meet people there, but
I mean,
Riviera, like I have to beg, borrow, and plead to get in there and park and get their room number and everything else. But Bar Riva, kind of like that place, but it's still not the same, right?
It's the lobby and stuff is pretty when you walk into Riviera, but to your point you made just a minute ago, and there's pretty hotels everywhere. I'm not trying to poo-poo the Riviera, but I'm just saying of the others, it's not very Disney themed as well. I mean, they do have the pretty,
it's light. Okay. Yeah. It's light Disney theme. And
aside from the artwork, there's not really a lot of theming that feels over the top there and Disney.
No, it's more of a classic elegance that we've got going on there at Riviera. And the other place that I love meeting people is Boulder Ridge, because if it's bad outside, that Boulder Ridge train room, you've got like seating areas, places to hang out in there. Geyser Point is a great place to go hang out and meet people.
Yep.
I mean, Jodi, we've met there multiple times.
Yes.
Listeners,
yeah. It's beautiful there.
Yeah.
And I've always been lucky to get a spot when I show up, which is amazing because it's not that big of a area for how popular it is. So it's great. I like Boardwalk too, as far as meeting folks or going to. Sometimes I have friends that work at Disney and we'll meet after work and have a drink at the bar there. And if that's full, there's a walk outside, name your poison.
You know, Pete Scheidley from DVC Help and our newscast team, his favorite place is Jelly Rolls. And so when Pete's in town, I try to meet him at Jelly Rolls. And that is a rocking good time. It is just a ton of fun to come back in because he has them do Sherman Brothers songs, and there's no other dueling piano bar on the planet. You could say, hey, play me a Sherman Brothers melody, and they'll come in and belt it out. But Jelly Rolls has got it down, man.
Boardwalk's fun. Yeah.
They're a lot of fun. Yeah. Boardwalk fun. I love staying at Beach Club, but there's really nothing there to meet people at.
I agree.
It's kind of not a great place
Other
to come in and hang out and meet people.
Pool area and the location, obviously just walking right into Epcot, the World Showcase. I don't think there's anything particularly special beyond those two things there at Beach Club. It's a nice, cute resort, but I don't know. It just.
Yeah, I love staying there. The rooms are, what I call the Beverly of DVC, with the Saratoga, Boulder Ridge, Boardwalk. That awkward bathroom layout that in the one bedroom, you're like trying to look to find your way around.
That's what I think. That's what I think
bunch of angled doors. It's just
how many doors? Did they get a special on doors here or what? Yeah.
Yeah. That whole place is that floor plan. I call it the Beverly of DVC.
Yeah.
It's just bad, just really bad. But I mean, we've evolved since then. So I'm not going to complain because, when we left there, we got the Animal Kingdom layout and then Bay Lake.
Yeah.
With the third bathrooms and everything's awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, I mean, that pretty much wraps up our show tonight. We've got 4 or 5 contracts at Polybot and ROFR. Prices softening, couple of risers. Grand Flow seems to be doing really well in terms of price. And Boulder Ridge, you think could just be like an anomaly.
No, I definitely, I think that decline was pretty sharp. I'm not saying that it's going to pop back up. I just think, because again, it's a 2042 and they've plateaued. Yeah.
TikTok.
Exactly.
TikTok. It's here.
I'm surprised. No. And I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, frankly. But so I mean, I just don't know if 93 will stay the Av. It might go up to the more of the high 90s. It really depends on what comes in, the size, and if they're loaded or stripped. But that'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one as well. And then listings last month when we recorded, we had well over 600. Now we're down to 571. And a couple popped up today because it was into the 560s. So had some new listings come in today. Jodi, since I've looked at it in the last few hours, is just telling you how active the market is right here. So Jodi, let's go ahead and give you a shout out here and a way to follow for everybody to follow up with you. It is Jodi at DVC Resale Market, 407-325-7116. If you're watching, it's right down here below on the screen. And what am I missing, Jodi?
I mean, I like it. It was a little short and sweet today, but I think we packed a lot in whatever it's been, 20 minutes or so. So
Yeah, it's 27 minutes. We try to keep them at 20, so we're really over 7 minutes. I mean,
okay. I feel like it
short,
just maybe it
not
just
short
went by
today.
fast. It was a fun conversation and it went by a little quicker. Seemed like it anyway. But
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
course.
I mean, we always have fun,
Of course.
Jodi. So it's always fun hanging out with you. And I'm telling you guys, if you guys have questions about DVC, Jodi at dvcresalemarket.com. You can call her, text her.
Yeah,
I believe
yeah.
that's the cell phone, right?
Call or text. Yep.
Yep. Call, text, email, whatever you guys are most comfortable with. So just so you guys know, I don't have like a question and answer box on my website or solicit your questions because I want you to call Jodi. Jodi is the professional here, and I'm just kind of the social media ringleader and content creator and the guy who hosts all of these conversations.
We thank you for that. Yeah.
We'll rely on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you to all of the world of DVC companies, including DVC Resale Market, DVC Rental Store, and Monera Financial for their continued support of the My DVC Points platform. As well, thank you to our Patreons. You guys and your support are doing amazing things to help me kind of build these studios, pay the streaming bills that are coming up here and the podcast hosting bills. It's hard to believe that YouTube, they want your content and they'll pay you for it. But for an audio podcast, I actually have to pay to have that hosted. So Patreons, we love you guys. Thank you for your support. And as always, Jodi, thank you for joining us. And hopefully you guys have learned something in watching or listening to today's show, if you're catching the audio podcast version, that'll help you go out there and plan something magical for your family. Thanks,
you.
everybody, and have a great night.
Ladies and gentlemen, please watch your head and step as you exit, and take small children by the hand.
Aw, chill up, Dad. You know I'll come back. Like DVC.
My DVC Points is an unofficial Disney-inspired podcast created by fans of Disney Vacation Club. The thoughts expressed in this podcast are personal opinions and personal experiences. My DVC Points is not affiliated with Disney Vacation Club, the Walt Disney Companies, or any subsidiaries. We encourage listeners to contact their DVC guide or member services for official DVC policies.